Yo guys, what's going on? It's Logan coming at you from Hunting Pros, and welcome back to another video. Now, over the past few months, I've been asked a ton of questions on my YouTube channel and also on my social media pages about duck hunting. And one of the questions that keeps coming up is what is needed to duck hunt in terms of gear. So I'm going to answer that for you in this video. I hope you enjoy. And guys, before we get too far into this video, I would like to mention that I'm in partnership with Cartridge. They are an awesome ammunition company, guys, and their shells really put down the birds. Everything from Fast Steel Plus, Fast Steel 2.0, bismuth, all-purpose steel, teal steel, it all works great, guys, and it comes very highly recommended for me. This video is targeted towards a more novice viewer or somebody planning on getting into the sport of duck hunting. However, if you are a veteran of the sport and you're watching this video, please do not hesitate to drop a comment below letting me know if I missed anything. So let's get into it. What is needed to duck hunt? And that's really not the easiest thing for me to answer, and I'll tell you why. It really depends on how you plan on hunting. Do you plan on hunting over tidal areas and saltwater mudflats like I do? Do you plan on hunting flooded timber inland somewhere? Do you plan on hunting fields? Do you plan on hunting open ocean for sea ducks? Those are all things you're gonna have to ask yourself before you consider gear. Now that we've talked about different types of duck hunting, there are some common things that all duck hunters should have or need. So I'm just gonna point out the obvious. Across the board, no matter how you plan on duck hunting, the first thing you're probably gonna need is a reliable shotgun. I'm not gonna get into that too much with you guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. Go out, if you don't have one already, get yourself a shotgun. I'm not going to tell you what type to get, whether it's pump, semi, over, under, single shot, whatever. You guys figure out what will work best for you, do some research, but that is the first thing you will need. The second thing you're going to want as a duck hunter is reliable, non-toxic shotgun shells. I'm placing emphasis on non-toxic. In North America, it's illegal to hunt with lead shot. That was outlawed many years ago. It's still very prevalent in the sport shooting world and also in upland game hunting, but for waterfowl it's illegal, so make sure you choose non-toxic shells. Now, the third thing that duck hunters should have across the board is good camouflage clothing. I can't really tell you what to buy because, once again, I don't know where you plan on hunting, but once you know the areas you plan on hunting, buy a camouflage pattern or a color of clothing that really matches the backdrop or the type of cover that you're in. For example, if I was hunting here today with all this green, this would probably be a decent option. If I was in a cornfield where it's like that off yellowish color, I'd probably stick out pretty bad. So you're gonna wanna match what you're wearing with where you're going. The fourth thing you're going to want as a duck hunter is a pair of waders. They're called waterfowl for a reason. If you plan on hunting over water, make sure you have waders, guys. You don't want to be going out there to retrieve your decoys or to set your decoys or to pick up dead birds or whatever and get wet. You want to go out and you want to be dry for the remainder of the day. The only real way to do that is with waders. I've tried it with boots over the years, guys, and it's so easy to go over your boots and get your feet wet. In most areas that I hunt, I couldn't even go out there in boots anyway because the water comes up too high. So anyway, just get yourself a pair of waders. They don't need to be the most expensive ones on the market because they range in price from around the $100 mark up to over $1,000. So get yourself a good pair. I actually have multiple pairs, and the reason why is that here in Nova Scotia, the temperature ranges drastically throughout the season. The beginning of the year, I've seen it as warm as plus 25 Celsius, and at the end of the season, I've hunted in negative 30 Celsius. Very, very big difference. So that's something else to consider as well. If you're hunting in a cooler area, you might want to get insulated waders. The fifth thing you're probably going to want is a duck call. Now, it's not really a necessity. You don't need to know how to call ducks to get them to light into your decoys. It definitely does help convince them though. And chances are, if you're getting into it, you might be hunting with somebody more experienced that already knows how to call ducks, so you might not need it right away. But my recommendation would be, for those of you that are getting into this, go out, get yourself a cheaper duck call just to learn on, and if it's something you stick with, you get a better one later. The last big ticket thing we're going to talk about today is duck decoys. Really, guys, unless you plan on jump shooting ducks out of a canoe or a kayak or something, you're going to want to have decoys at your disposal to help lure ducks into where you want them. So just FYI, for you new duck hunters out there, there's a lot of science about how to place your decoys, how many decoys to use, should you use motion decoys, which is another type of decoy you can get into using. I'm not going to get into any of that with you today. I don't want to tell you to go out and buy 3 dozen decoys and it not work for you. Honestly, for me, and if you watch my hunting videos, I have a lot of good luck just using around a dozen decoys. And just before I let you go, in conjunction with a few of the things we talked about, you're probably going to want a good gun case. If you're hunting over water, guys, and you're going to and from your duck blind in a boat, I would highly, highly, highly recommend getting a floating gun case. I'd also recommend getting something relatively waterproof to keep your shells in. And lastly, I would recommend a good decoy bag for your decoys. There's nothing worse than just, you know, carrying those, lugging them through the woods on strings and whatnot. Get a good decoy bag, whether it's one of the backpack ones or one of the slotted ones you carry. That would be highly recommended as well. And just like that, we've made it to the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I just want to put it out there. What I mentioned today and the things that I listed aren't necessarily the only things you'll ever want or need as a duck hunter. It's just a really good place to start and to get you out. If you did take something from this, please slap the like button, also subscribe. And one more thing I'd like to mention, a lot of the items mentioned today, decoys, duck calls, proper camouflage clothing, etc., can be purchased at the Canadian Waterfowl Supplies website. So I'm going to link that down below, guys, and maybe you'll be able to pick something up. Take care. Thanks.